The Yankees win 2 out of 3 in Colorado. We'll recap that. And we're going to give you an update on George Lombard Jr. down in the minors next on an all-new live edition of Locked On Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsulias, and with me as usual is my co-host Brian McKeon. Brian.
Stacey, it's an Indiana Fever shirt, not a Pacer shirt.
Okay, good. We don't want the Knicks fans in the chat to get upset with you wearing an Indiana shirt. Okay, so before we get started, don't forget, subscribe to Locked On Yankees on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like our videos, hit the bell so you're notified whenever our videos go live. So on today's show, we preview the series with the Angels, which begins tonight at 9:38 p.m. on Memorial Day. I'm going to rant about that in segment 3. It's Minors Monday. We have a bunch of updates for you, including our weekly, or it seems weekly, George Lombard Jr. update. But first, the Yankees win 2 out of 3 against Colorado. Let's bring this up right now quickly, because we'll do Friday's game later in the segment. But didn't it feel like a trap game to you?
Yeah, 100%. Like I that's why I wasn't as angry as the entire fan base when they lost on Friday. I feel like it was expected. Like they were just in such a bad travel spot. It was absolutely a trap game. So I wouldn't get, this is not equivalent to the White Sox loss of last year.
Right.
It's not.
All right, so let's start with Sunday's game since that is fresh in our minds. The first inning wasn't great for Will Warren, but it could have been a disaster, and he limited the damage and only gave up 2 runs. I noticed that he was having an issue with some of his pitches weren't moving the way they normally do. I don't know if it was the altitude in Colorado or what was going on there. But, bases loaded, no outs, wild pitch scores the first run, ground ball scores the second. But, I mean, honestly, in Colorado, anyone gets a hold of a fly ball, that bases loaded situation could have turned into a grand slam if he, threw a ball down the middle that someone hit.
I want to say this, too, because I think it deserves to be spoken about in this term now. I think Will Warren is starting to look the part, if that makes sense. And he was figuring things out his first year, and then the first couple of starts this year, he was kind of figuring things out. And now we're talking 4 starts in a row where he's looked elite. I mean, he's looked incredible. And it's becoming, if you're a diehard Yankee fan, his starts are must watch now. Like, you need to see what he's going to do and how he's going to perform, because he's becoming a strikeout machine. The hidden, and you're right, the 4 innings, the 2 runs to limit it, you get the rain delay in the middle too, so he would have went longer, obviously. Right. So it's a little deceiving if you guys weren't watching the game. But the fact that he had 7 strikeouts over 4 innings, he's becoming a legitimate strikeout master right now. I mean, the last 4 games, if you don't count the rain delay performance of Sunday, I think he's re-upped a career high in his last 3 starts prior to that. It was like 7 strikeouts, then 8, then 10. So, and then he had 7 in this game in 4 innings. He was well on his way to probably getting over 10 if you think about it in this game. Right. I mean, he's becoming a legitimate, I don't want to call it like too high yet, because it is his like 5th start of performing at this level, but he looks like he's got legit really good stuff, along with that high velocity fastball that the Yankees love to see. And honestly, Major League Baseball, that's what a lot of elite guys have nowadays.
Right. Now, the Yankees ended up winning on Sunday in big part to JC Escara, career high 3 hits. He was 3 for 4, including what ended up being the game winner, we can say, because, the Rockies made things scary there in the 9th inning. And if it weren't for Escara's hit, yesterday could have turned out a lot differently than it did.
Yeah, and if you lose the series, that's a problem. Like, again, we'll talk about the Friday game. If you lose the series, you can't be losing series to Colorado. But, no. I mean, save the game. And I'll tell you this, too. JC Escara there's a lot of storylines with the Yankee offense of guys that are keeping themselves in the lineup, so his doesn't get mentioned very often, but he's keeping himself on the roster. Because with Giancarlo Stanton coming back, they would have 100% went to Ben Rice as a backup catcher and played Austin Wells probably too many games that he needs to play throughout the year. But JC Escara, they're going to carry 3 catchers. They have no they're going to figure something out. They're probably going to drop a bullpen arm, but they are going to have to figure something out, because he's played his, and if they put him on waivers to send him down, he's going to get picked up by somebody. There's a guarantee someone will pick him up. He's played that well.
This is a fun fact from Ricky Ricardo of WADO. It was the Yankees' 25th road game of the season. Escara wears 25, and he was the hitting star of the game. So that's pretty cool. Let's talk about Luke Weaver. His first rough outing of the season, gives up a solo shot, and things were hairy. 2 runners on. Any hit again, Coors Field could turn this into. 2 seasons ago, they had a disaster game on the Sunday in their series against the Rockies. It was one of their more degrading losses. More, they had a couple of those in 2023, but the one against the Rockies was particularly tough to watch. And Judge was hurt in that series. He was hurt against the Dodgers. He broke his toe a few weeks before that. So he wasn't even in the series, and it was just a mess. So I was having flashbacks.
And he can hit in Colorado, adding another stadium to his list of stadiums. I think there's only 5 left now that he hasn't hit a home run in Colorado. I mean, he had in the home run derby, I think, years ago when it was there, but not actually during I don't know if he actually was in that home run derby. I could be mistaken.
No.
But he hasn't hit a home run in Colorado ever, actually. But yeah, that's a ballpark where that was one of the reasons why when Adam Ottavino was becoming a free agent, he was such a hot commodity because he had such a low ERA in that ballpark. And
which is not easy to do at all.
He can get away from you really easily.
Speaking of low ERAs, so because of the solo shot he gave up in the 9th inning, Luke Weaver's ERA jumped from 0.40 to 0.76. So it's still below 1. He's been incredible.
Direct track to the All-Star game.
Friday night, not much to talk about. Like I said, 3-2 loss. No offense other than Judge hitting his first home run in Coors Field. Schmidt, he has to be better. I'm sorry. He really does. Right. Yeah, 4 2/3 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits, 2 walks. The 8K is great, but he also had a wild pitch. Wild pitches were a thing this weekend. And again, I don't know if it's Colorado and the way the balls move or what, but no, you have to be better than 4 2/3 innings.
A hidden thing to this too is, pitching in Major League Baseball, especially with the pitch clock, has become a cardio thing. You need to be able to throw at a higher pace than pitchers used to be able to. And with the higher velocity, guys aren't necessarily ready to be pitching at that much of a pace in the high velocity. I think that could lead to you drop the shoulder a little too quickly, and it can lead to wild pitches very easily. I will say the Yankees definitely got an unfair travel situation with this. I mean, it was not fair coming off the Texas series that they had to get to Colorado as quick as they had to get to. It did feel like a trap game. I'd agree with you. But you're right. And this Clark Schmidt thing does start to feel like, and we see it every year, and it really is unfortunate, when a guy doesn't get a full spring training, they usually have that off year. It's a thing. I don't know why, but if you don't get a full, and he got a full spring training regiment, and if you include the minor league stints that he had and stuff, but he didn't get the full spring in Florida where he comes in January and starts to do his weight training, and then he gets to start pitching in February. And when guys don't get that, you see it across the entire league, Stacey. When pitchers don't get that, they pitch the whole year and stay healthy, but they don't have the same year they're used to for whatever reason. Guys, they're such a creature of habit, these guys, and I'm at fear that Clark Schmidt is having one of those years because right now I trust Luke Weaver more than Clark Schmidt.
Will Warren.
I mean, definitely Luke Weaver.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to Saturday since that was the big game of the series. You have Max Fried on the mound. He was going to pitch well, and he did. 7 1/3 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, 7 Ks, 2 pickoffs. I know people were kind of like, why wouldn't you keep him in? But I understand with a lead that big. And with how Ian Hamilton has been pitching lately, that was the perfect opportunity to put him into that game.
100%. Get him in, get the work in. And why, I know it's early in the year, why destroy Max Fried's arm right now? You don't need those extra innings. It's not necessary.
Yeah, and now he's lined up for the Dodgers on Friday.
Beautiful. So. I mean, can't wait. That's the one you can't wait for. You knew he was going to pitch well in the game against Colorado, but he's been a discount. And he got the highest free agent contract of the offseason of a pitcher, and he's been a discount.
So Judge hits another home run, shocking. But what's funny about this, the offense explodes in the 5th inning. It's almost like they finally woke up in the 5th inning from their trip to Colorado because they were they had like a hangover on Saturday from the loss on Friday because they just didn't look right at all.
Yeah, too many airport beers.
Yeah, right. And then in the 5th inning, Wells leads everything off. He gets 2 hits in that inning. And ironically, Judge didn't have any hits in that inning. Now,
Yeah, he
to
was
be
the
fair,
final out of that inning too.
right. Intentionally walked, and then he struck out to end that inning. But everyone contributed. Jasson Dominguez also didn't have a hit, but he had a sac fly. But a bunch of guys that you don't expect to do things actually were doing things in that fifth inning, which was nice to see. Again, caveat, it's the Rockies. And Rockies pitching has not been great this season, but it was good to see some of those guys, especially Wells, getting some things done in that fifth inning.
Yeah, and again, just to sum up the series, I wouldn't really take Friday's loss to be that big of a deal. Again, they had to leave after the late Thursday game and play an earlier game on Friday. It was not.
It wasn't a late game on Thursday. They started at 12:35, but still.
my point is leaving late, because if they started 12:35, they're not on the tarmac at. I think they fly out of JFK, but I could be wrong. They're not on the tarmac at JFK until 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Which means you're not landing in Colorado until, Colorado time, it's about 11 p.m., and then you're playing. Usually when you go to the West Coast, there's always a travel day in the middle. There's always one. And the Yankees.
The Dodgers are getting a travel day coming back from Cleveland to play with the Yankees. And then the Yankees have that off day between Anaheim and LA because the Dodgers are coming back from Cleveland. So, yeah. But anyway, successful series, and the Yankees are 6 games up in the AL East above the Rays now. The Rays have leapfrogged over both the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. We'll discuss that more later in the week.
The Red Sox are not scoring runs.
How the AL East is shifting. Okay. Let's see. We have comments. Oh, we have comments on the screen. This is a new feature that we have. I don't know if you noticed. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
I like it.
Yeah. We're going to do that from now on. All right. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notifications so you know when our videos go up. You can also join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You get top priority on Fan Mail Friday. That's the #1 perk. You also get text from us. You can text us questions, comments, reactions to trades and signings. We send out the lineups during the season, any roster moves that are made, breaking news, and I have one-on-one conversations with everyone while games are going on. So it's kind of fun. There's a 14-day free trial. All right. Coming up, it's Miners Monday, so we're going to tell you how everything is doing down on the farm, but more specifically, we're going to tell you what's going on with George Lombard Jr. next.
So, guys, the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. And whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. And FanDuel makes it easy to stay in on the game before tip-off and live. There's playoff props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and to win big. And obviously what's going on now is the Knicks. Now, Knicks fans, if you're watching, New Yorkers, if you're watching, it's an Indiana Fever shirt. Caitlin Clark, I'm a big fan of hers. It's not an Indiana Pacers shirt. The Knicks, you could have got them live at any point in that 20-point Game 3 comeback to save their season. All available on FanDuel. Player props are live, game live, money line live. You can get the spread live. Everything was available possible. And there was your chance. And the Knicks have been the comeback kings of the postseason. So look out for it next game. Also, futures market. The Knicks could win their first championship in 50-something years. All available on FanDuel. And here's the thing. If you're new to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up right now. If you head over to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet, if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel. It's an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
So we have a new way for you on YouTube to leave questions for Fan Mail Friday. So if you go to our show's page and you click on the post tab, you will see where I leave the deadline for Fan Mail Friday, which I have not done yet. I will do it after we're done with this live stream, but it's most likely going to be Thursday at 5 p.m. So Miners Monday, a lot of stuff going down on the farm. And I just want to say, quick note, the majority of the info that I get is from Tom Kaczynski. Go to tomkaczynski.com. He keeps track of everything that's happening in the minors. He even keeps track of the Florida Complex League. Like, this dude is legit, okay? So it's most of my information is from him. I will obviously check the team sites as well to see what's going on, but most of the numbers I get are from him, and I appreciate all the work that he does to keep everyone up to date on everything that's happening. All right, so Scranton's game on Sunday was canceled by rain. It actually started, and then they had to end it because of the rain, and they're not making it up. So poor TJ Rumfield hit a home run, and now it's not going to count because they canceled the game.
That's annoying.
That's a bummer for him. They're 22-26 on the season because they had a 1-4 series with Nashville this week, including a doubleheader sweep on Wednesday, which is pretty ugly. And next up for them are the Woo Sox, the Worcester Red Sox, however you say it. They say things really weird in Massachusetts. Do you know that the word that we pronounce as Peabody is Peabody up there?
Weird. Yeah, I don't like it.
And the Woo Sox are 25-25 on the season. No offense to people in Massachusetts. I love people in Massachusetts. You're all great, but you pronounce things very odd. So I just
and Woo Sox is not good either.
Well, you got the Paw Sox, the Woo Sox.
Yeah, Paw Sox. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah. No, not okay with it.
Somerset, as my drink falls on me. This is your George Lombard Jr. update. He had his second multi-hit game since his promotion on Sunday. He's 7 for 26, which works out to a 269 average in his last 8 games. In those 8 games, a double, 3 runs batted in, 8 runs scored, 8 walks, and 3 for 4 in stolen bases. His combined numbers for the season, 287, 457, 390 in, 184 plate appearances. So that's 9 doubles, a triple, a home run. And he's 17 for 20 on stolen bases. He's also tied for the league in the organization in runs scored with Brendan Jones of Hudson Valley, who we'll actually be talking about in a few minutes. They both have 35 runs scored. So he's still not quite ready for prime time, obviously, because he's in Double-A. But it seems that he is adjusting to Double-A because he had a bit of a rough start.
And that's the thing, Stacey. That's why we got to stop freaking out to the fan base. We got to stop freaking out when the guy has his first game in Double-A and struggles. It takes time. And for George Lombard Jr., it took less time than most because within 2 weeks, he's now hitting a solid hitter in the middle of their lineup. So give it time. Let it marinate. Also, just to address one of our comments, Debbie out here on the chat was asking quickly if Oswaldo needed ankle surgery. He did get ankle surgery on the fractured ankle. The surgery was good. Everything went well with that. So just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, updated that last week during an injury update. So surgery on the ankle. He also had to have ligaments repaired. So he's definitely done for the season. 100%.
Yeah, you won't see him probably till next April at the best, honestly.
I would like to address another comment that I just saw. Stacey wears the hat. I don't think I've ever seen you without a Yankees hat. I sometimes, when I clean my hair, I tend to not wear the hat.
Yeah, Stacey's gone with the no hat look before.
Yeah, it's very rare because the hats are my thing, but my hat's here. I have it. It's there. And all my other ones on the wall, they're all there. But yeah, I made that my gimmick for the show because I figured I have like 13 Yankee hats. I mean, I tend to wear the same one because I get into a groove with the hat. And I feel like if they're doing well with the one hat, I'll just keep it on all the time.
Interesting. I didn't know there was a superstition behind it.
Oh, I'm very superstitious. You know this about me. You've been hosting the show with me for over a year. You know how I am. More updates from Somerset. Rafael Flores is still tearing it up in Double-A. He's one of the 3 players in the system who's batting above 300. Also, Parks Harbor down in Hudson Valley. Yes, that's a real name. And Jesus Rodriguez in Scranton are the other 2. Parks Harbor. That's an interesting name.
That's a baseball name though. That's an 1800s Parks Harbor kind of. Yeah. Love it.
Down in Hudson Valley, where Parks Harbor plays, the Renegades are now 29-15 on the season. They did have a rough loss over the weekend, though. They were leading 4-0 going into the 9th inning on Saturday. They gave up 5 runs to Winston-Salem, and Winston-Salem ended up winning that game 5-4. So that's not great, but Hudson Valley rebounded nicely on Sunday by winning by the same score, 5-4. No shenanigans in that game, though. No late comebacks or anything. It was just a normal 5-4 game. Left fielder, Brendan Jones stole another base in Sunday's game. He has 18 of them. He leads the whole organization in stolen bases. And this is a fun fact about Jones. He hit into a double play during the game on Sunday, and it was only the second time he's done that in 63 career games.
Wow, that's impressive too.
So that's pretty good of Brendan Jones, which that's a regular.
Yeah, normal name, not a Parks Harbor.
Yeah. Down in Tampa, number 8 prospect left-hander Brock Selvage is rehabbing with them. His numbers on Sunday, 2 1/3 innings. He gave up a hit, 2 runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks. It was his second rehab appearance. Because he's in low A, they now have actual data. So he was throwing or averaging 92.4. His highest four-seamer was 94.2. Kind of strange. Same numbers, just reversed. He generated 5 whiffs on his slider in 17 pitches on the
They
slider.
look for that whiff rate is a big stat that's coming up now too.
Yeah.
They're big on whiff rate.
The Tampa Tarpons are now in second place. They're in a 3-way tie with the Dunedin Jays, who they defeated on Sunday. And they're also tied with the Clearwater Phillies, but they're all chasing the Lakeland Tigers.
Why don't minor league teams go by like their own names anymore? They're all the major league club's name attached to the whatever little town they play in.
Yeah, well, it seems in that level, it's like that. Other levels, they
still
still have.
At this level, a lot of these teams are newer. But I don't understand. Like, why not come up with your own cool?
I mean,
fun...
Tampa's the Tampa Tarpons. They're not the Yankees anymore. Yeah.
Like, I don't like the Dunedin Blue Jays or the Clearwater Phillies. Like, come up with something a little different. At least that's my viewpoint on it.
I believe they're the Clearwater Phillies. I just put that in because I'm assuming. I think they're the Clearwater Phillies.
I'm like 99% sure they are the Clearwater Phillies. I think.
Yeah. So if I'm wrong about that, take my head off in the comments, and I apologize for that. But now I think. Okay. So we mentioned the whiffs or the whiffs from salvage. I forgot to mention Will Warren because we had it in our notes. Career high 17 swings and misses on Sunday. In 4 innings.
It's incredible how good he's been, and the strikeout pitch is clearly working for him. Again, I trust him more than Clark Schmidt at this point. I honestly do.
So coming up, we're going to preview the series with the Los Angeles Angels, which starts tonight at 9:38, which I will also be ranting about next.
Yeah.
Here's my rant. It's Memorial Day. Now, other people are ranting about some teams aren't playing on Memorial Day, and some people think that everyone should play on Memorial Day because it's the holiday. It's the type of day like 4th of July where you should have day baseball. And we have to stay up on the East Coast to watch a local 5:38 start in Anaheim, and we have to watch from 9:38 to probably 12:38 with the way the Yankees and the Angels sometimes play. By the way, we're going live after the game tonight, so if you'd like to join us for that. The matchups, these are according to ESPN, because when I went to Yankees.com, everything was TBD for the Yankees, but we're assuming that this is the order that everyone is going to be in for this series. So tonight, it's Ryan Yarbrough against, I'll get this, Josh Kahanowitz. I had to get the pronunciation from Baseball Reference because you never know how people with WICZ pronounce if it's which. So I just wanted to make sure it was right. But according to Baseball Reference, it's Kahanowitz. So there we go.
Good work.
Thank you. Yarbrough, 1-0 with a 3.38 ERA. And his opponent, Josh Kahanowitz, 3-5 with a 5.03 ERA.
The late start is annoying too, just because they could have easily made this the night primetime game if they really wanted to. New York versus LA, if they wanted to make a primetime Memorial Day Monday night game, easily could have done that and like made the game at 7:00 on the East Coast, 4:00 game in Anaheim. Everybody's off from work today. Like people could have went to the game. Having a night game, it's so ridiculous. Playing this game at 6:38 p.m. on the West Coast. Why? I don't get it.
5:38.
No, they're 3 hours back.
Yeah, it's 9:38 and 5:38.
No, they're 3 hours back.
Oh, so it's 6:38, right?
So it's 6:38.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I know how to do math. I swear, it's Monday.
I don't know why we need to have this long old it's annoying.
I guess that's
for
their
New Yorkers.
normal nighttime start. I'm assuming 6:38 because the Yankees sometimes do 6:35, although they haven't really done that.
They haven't done it this year. No,
why haven't they done that?
I don't know. I like it more for New York's perspective, but forgetting that they're not you, but like they're playing an East Coast team, the Angels. So and it's the Yankees. You want to get the big Notice how next weekend when they play the Dodgers, all those games are at like 7 o'clock Eastern because they want the TV numbers. But now it's okay with not getting the TV numbers for the Angels when everybody's off from work. I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe
get
they're
it.
just assuming everyone's going to be at barbecues and not caring about baseball, so they're like, let's put it
But it's
later.
the perfect like 4 o'clock New York thing when you can like watch the game on like the outside TV that's like there and everyone's having a barbecue and a good time and you're in the pool and it's like
Outside TV? Who has outside TVs? People have outside TVs?
Yeah, but the 4th of July house that I go to every year has got an outside TV. Regardless of that, maybe I'm tipping my hand. But I don't understand. And last year, the 4th of July, they didn't play a game. Remember, that was a big deal. People were very aggravated about that, not playing a game on the 4th of July. So it's just, I don't know why they do this kind of stuff. It's just very aggravating on a Monday night, on a Monday.
Was that last year or the year before? I don't remember because 4th of July I was in the ER, so I don't remember what 4th of July was.
Yeah, I think it was last year. Not fun.
Yeah. And it's
Did
the
they
Yankees.
serve burgers and hot dogs and beer in the ER, or they didn't do that?
No, not for 4th of July.
It should be
No, I
anyway.
didn't get any of that.
It's
I just
not
got an
American.
IV. I got an IV of antibiotics because I had a fever and they were worried
They wouldn't
about
even give
me.
you like a PBR IV or something like that. I mean,
No.
you gotta make it more American. Come on.
You know why sometimes I get confused with the time zones? Because there's 4 of them. Eastern,
Yeah.
Central, Mountain, and I'm doing 4 in my head when I know it should be 3. Believe me, I
Yeah.
know. Okay, again, it's Monday. Tuesday, 9:38 start. Carlos Rodon against Tyler Anderson. Rodon, very good lately. 6-3 on the year, 2.88 ERA. So he's lowered that ERA below 3.
He's in the
Tyler
fours.
Anderson is 2-1 with a 3.60 ERA.
Yeah, very, very good out of Carlos Rodon so far. And again, this rotation sets up perfectly where they're going to get free against the Dodgers.
Yes. Ugh, can't wait. Wednesday, also 9:38. Clark Schmidt against Yusei Kikuchi. Clark Schmidt is 1-2 with a 4.58 ERA. Kikuchi is 1-4 with a 3.17 ERA.
Yeah, I mean, the Angels are a weird team, right? Because they're kind of middling right now. In the standings, they're not this like over the top great team, but they're in the AL West, which no one's really been able to take over so far. I mean, the Mariners have played well and have a good record, but no one sees them as this dominant, unbelievable team. Yankees actually saw them 2 weeks ago in Seattle, which also is very weird too. To get the West Coast trips out of the way this quickly, it's very odd with the scheduling because they've to go from West Coast back to the East Coast, right back to the West Coast. I mean, granted, it's great for us show wise. This is I believe the last time that we stay up this late. But weird how they get the West Coast. Usually that's like one in August and one in May. Like they split it up a little bit.
Yeah,
both
yeah.
weeks this is very strange.
Yeah, because there were a couple of years in a row where they played, I think it was a couple of years in a row where they played the A's on the West Coast on my birthday in late August.
Not fun.
Yeah, no, especially because I think, did they lose on my birthday? I can't remember, but it was one of those annoying games where the A's, when they were still playing in the Coliseum, and they had players who you didn't expect to do things. Speaking of the A's, they ended their 10-game losing streak on Sunday because they were feeling it. Although it was really funny on Saturday. I can't remember who got ejected from the game, but they had to walk to the clubhouse, and the entrance to the clubhouse is in the outfield. So they got ejected from the game, and they had to make the long walk along left field to go into the clubhouse.
Which is tremendous. They can't wait to get to Vegas in a new stadium with energy behind them and stuff like that. I will say, a travel update for the Yankees, if you guys are interested in how they can get screwed over travel and schedule-wise. Once they're done with their Dodgers series and they come back to New York, the furthest west they'll travel the rest of the season is Houston. So they do get a real respite when it comes to traveling. They're going to Miami and stuff, but the furthest west they'll go is Houston. So not many big time change games that you're going to have the rest of the year. That at least is good for everybody.
All right. So let's record for another 10 minutes with our people here. And then I will edit this out for the audio people.
Sure, sounds good.
People in the comments, let's bring this up first. I mentioned how the Rays have jumped over the Blue Jays and the Red Sox in the standings. The Rays won on Sunday 13-0 against the Blue Jays in Steinbrenner Field. Like, Steinbrenner Field is the type of ballpark where everyone should hit the ball out, but the Blue Jays could not do anything, and the Rays just beat them up.
And the Blue Jays were the team in the division that was scoring a lot of runs early on, which is crazy. They were actually scoring a lot, and that was their big thing. And now they've been falling more in the standings. They're now under 500, which, by the way, the whole division, I mean, the Rays now got themselves back to 500 after yesterday's win. But the whole division is under 500, which is, I mean, I don't think anybody in their right mind saw the possibility of the Yankees being able to run away with the division. But the Yankees are 12 games over at this point. So, well, I mean, there's a real possibility. I mean,
look at
last
that.
year with Soto, we're 30 and 22 games. They're 32 and 20 so far this year. I don't think that's a huge. The Soto stuff is like, I'd love to have Juan Soto in this lineup.
But if you had Juan Soto, you wouldn't have Cody Bellinger. You wouldn't have Paul Goldschmidt. You might not even have Max Fried.
I disagree. You wouldn't have Max Fried. That's for sure.
You wouldn't have Cody Bellinger. There wouldn't have been a need for Cody Bellinger.
You might have, because the Cubs ate some salary in that. The Yankees aren't paying a huge amount in the Cody Bellinger stuff. You'd 100% have Paul Goldschmidt, because the Yankees pay nothing for Paul Goldschmidt. So he'd 100%.
I don't think you'd have Bellinger. I really don't.
I think maybe not, only because there would be the lack of a need for an outfielder.
That's what I'm saying, because they lost an outfielder in Soto.
Yeah, but to that credit, though, Soto would probably be hitting better than Bellinger anyway. So I don't think they'd be much worse or anything. I don't think it's that much of a difference, to be honest with you. I think it's just crazy how the lack of performance you've gotten out of the rest of the division is. And we all could confirm at the start of the year this was going to be a tight race. I mean, everyone in the comments,
it still could become one. But I was watching the game on, was it one of the games on Saturday between the Orioles and the Red Sox? And we put the game on. It was 7-3 Red Sox. And when the inning ended, it was 19-3 Red Sox. Now, granted, the Orioles had a position player pitching in the inning, but it was ugly watching the Orioles be as bad as they've been.
So that's the
this
team
season.
The Red Sox are now in trouble. I mean, they just called up the number 3 prospect in all of baseball to play the infield, but they're calling him up early because Alex Bregman got hurt, and apparently he's going to be out for a bit. And despite Bregman hitting like 330, they have struggled to score. Like, legitimately really struggled to score. That's a problem. But what's crazy is the team that we thought was going to be the problem for the Yankees and winning the division and going to be etching them out to who's going to get it, we're Baltimore, and Baltimore is legitimately terrible.
They're terrible.
They're awful, Stacey. I mean, they're so bad. Fired the coach, fired the manager too, with Brandon Hyde. I don't know where you go from here if you're Baltimore, because like this season's now getting away from you. Really, I mean, it might have gotten away.
And the guys that you expected to do well aren't hitting as well as they've been in the past. Like guys like Rushman aren't hitting as well as they have in the past. You know, again, we've spoken about this many times, but they lost Corbin Burns. You replace him with Charlie Morton?
Yeah.
Essentially.
It's a real problem there, because this is a monumental step backwards in what their trajectory was looking like for the next decade. Again, the fact that they weren't in on all the free agents last summer, that's at this point, should you be annoyed if you're an Orioles fan? 100%. But that's water under the bridge at this point. You got to be annoyed at this. Should still be a team that's above 500 and competing for a division title.
Yeah.
And the fact that is it away from them? They're 14 games back. They're 8-15 at home. They're 18-34. And here's where I think it is really away from them, Stacey. Their run differential is -95. Like they're not even competitive.
Right.
And the Yankees, for reference, is +107. But the rest of this division is just, I mean, just to keep into account, right? The Orioles run the White Sox, who are still really bad, but the Rockies are taking their thunder away. The White Sox run differential is -50, which is still god awful.
Yeah.
The Athletics, who just got off their 10-game losing streak, are -77 in the run differential. Let me just entertain you for a bit with the rest of the league, right? Of teams that aren't playing well. The Marlins, who are 21-30, -75 run differential. The Pirates, who are awful, -67 run differential. I'm going to leave the Rockies one out of it just for my point in conversation. But Baltimore's is -95. They have the second worst run differential in all of baseball. I mean, they are legitimately really bad. Now, I know you're all curious, and I'm going to give you the Colorado one. It's -171.
Oh,
I mean, that's I mean, really, really, really bad. minus 171. I mean, they're about 80 runs worse than Baltimore. That's putrid. But I think Baltimore's season is over. To be honest with you, I do. I don't think there's any recovering from this. To be quite honest with you,
I really don't think there is either, because they're going to be so bad that they're going to have to sell at the deadline if they do anything at the deadline. They're not going to be in any position to be buyers if they're continuing this. But I'm struck by the 8-15 at home. That is, wow, that's putrid.
I mean, 10-19 on the road too, which isn't anything to shy away from too. They're 3-7 in their last 10. And that's with a 10-game winning streak. That's with a 2-game winning streak currently going on. So I mean, think about that. They're putrid. They're a really bad baseball team. And we always talk about it with the Yankees. They don't have that stopgap in their rotation to like kind of give you a win in the middle to break up losing streaks. They don't have that. And that's to their own fault. But this has gotten so bad for them. And I don't have an explanation for how it's this bad. I honestly don't.
Retro Tony asks, how the heck did we lose to Baltimore this year? Well,
division rivalry.
It was earlier in the season, and any team can lose to any team in the major leagues because no teams have gone winless and no teams have gone undefeated. So you're going to have a day where your team is just not doing well and they can lose to anybody in the league. We saw it on Friday. We saw it against the White Sox last season. You know, you lose. How many games do you usually lose in a season? At least 60.
In a really good year.
If you're
60.
really good. Yeah, like 65, 70 games. So you're going to end up losing to a bad team every once in a while. But they weren't as bad when the Yankees played them. Like they weren't getting off to a good start, but now they keep falling behind. And it's just it's rough to watch. I mean, my God, again, like I said, it was a position player pitching, but I kind of felt like the Red Sox were having a little too much fun at Baltimore's expense at one point because I thought to myself, do you guys really have to like run home on it? Like, do you really have to from second base? Like, you could stop at third base. You don't have to score, you know.
Incredible. I mean, I have no explanations for how they're as bad as they are. It's wild.
Well, they don't have pitching really. And people aren't hitting the way they're supposed to.
Well, I mean, yeah, but to not like whose fault is that? That's the thing. Like these guys didn't get hurt. It's not like they had an array of good pitchers and they got hurt in spring training or something like that. They just decided to not acquire starting pitching. It's mind-boggling.
It's ownership and Mike Elias, and it's just amazing to me how we said that window seemed like it was really wide open for a really long time. You know, people were joking about this team being good until the early 2030s with that core that they had. And then when new ownership came in, you thought, okay, maybe Baltimore's finally going to spend money in the offseason and do something.
Now, who knows? Honestly, who knows?
Yeah. And their owner scheduled a bobblehead night for himself. That shows you how Baltimore is doing in 2020.
He must feel great about that one. Yeah. New owner, bobblehead night for himself. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just as bad as Ted Rogers putting a statue of himself outside Rogers Center up in Toronto.
Yeah, billionaires don't have egos.
No, not at all. So Yankees win 2 out of 3. Thank goodness, because people would have rioted in the streets if they didn't. George Lombard Jr. still not ready for prime time, but he's doing much better in AA. We'll keep you updated on him weekly because people want to know. You know, I like when Yankee fans get into the prospect things. I don't like when they prospect hug, but I like when Yankee fans are interested because, you know, if you want to be a well-rounded baseball fan, you should pay attention to the minor leagues on your team.
It's one of the best things about baseball because we actually know about the youth that's up and coming instead of other sports where you have no idea.
Right.
But yeah, I'd say with the farm system, you gotta remember to take it with a grain of salt. Guys' performances are not going to be equivalent to the major league level. It never are.
So programming note, we will be live after all of the games in Anaheim, correct? Because we're going to be
correct.
Yeah. So
into the wee hours of the morning. I don't think there'll be 80 people watching us at that time. But if you guys are up and you can't sleep, we'll be there for you.
You know, when we used to premiere our episodes at midnight, we had a nice little group of people who would be in the chat at midnight when we put the shows up. So if you guys are up tonight, make sure you're there with us. Join us for the live stream. And thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. You get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB, on YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsulias.
And I'm Brian McKeon. We'll catch you guys later tonight, tomorrow, something like that.